Okay, so just another hopefully quick video on yet another old camera. I've got quite a lot of these rangefinder style cameras. These kind of chunky. They're all. It's funny how everyone followed the same pattern of design. They either leatherette or in this case just kind of moulded plastic. In the middle, usually black, and then the top and bottom in this kind of brushed chrome, and they're practically all like that. So it's interesting. I'm just finished doing the video on the Minolta 7S. Is it 7S? Or am I just looking at this and saying 7S? That's confused me. I think it is though, isn't it? Interesting how they're actually called the same thing. I don't know what the significance is there. It's probably something obvious that I'm missing. This is a Petri 7S2, and it's just interesting the contrast between just going from the Minolta to this. I thought this was big, and it is big when I got it. It was bigger than I thought it was going to be. As I mentioned in the last video, they do tend to be, but I'm not sure what that is shaking there. I think it might be my film canister, which is slightly worrying. But there's not a great deal of weight in this in comparison to the Minolta. I'm guessing the middle is possibly plastic fully, whereas the other is probably more metal. Not a great deal to say about this one, so I'm going to keep this fairly short. Didn't get any exciting accessories with this or anything. This is a 45mm f2.8 lens. I think they also made this same camera with the same model with a 1.8 aperture lens, which is obviously better, more sought after. This was the cheaper one. Selenium cell metering around the lens there, but it does have it doesn't have what you would call an automatic mode. What it has is you set the ISO here, twisting. I think it's this part right. It's quite difficult to do actually. You need to because the aperture ring turns at the same time, so you kind of have to wait for the aperture ring to get to the end, and then you can set the ISO. There's also way too many dots on here. They all seem to have this problem, and I can never work out which is relating to the DIN and the ASA scales. But anyway, and then this one thing this does have going for it is a really nice viewfinder. Now, again, I always try this and it never really works. But you can see the parallax lines, the rangefinder diamond in the middle, and at the side you can see that meter there. And obviously you want the black line, as you can see that's hovering in the lower bit. You need that in the middle for a correct exposure. That's the idea. And to do that, basically you just look through the viewfinder, and probably I think how you're supposed to do it really is set your shutter speed in advance. It's hinting at that 1/30th of a second is possibly not a bad idea. That's probably a bit slow, I would suggest. I think 1/60th is probably the minimum you'd want for kind of general shooting, probably faster than that in all honesty. But I guess, people maybe were taking less kind of candid shots in bars and stuff in those days. It was probably more landscapes and people stood regimented next to buildings and stuff on holiday. Anyway, so it goes up to 500th of a second and down to 1 second and bulb. And then basically you've also got this nice free-flowing aperture ring that goes up to f16 and down to 2.8, and it's interesting that 8's in the middle as well, so it kind of suggesting you might want to do f8 at 30th of a second. I wonder if that's sensible. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not sure if that is significant, them both being red. Kind of makes you think it is. That's not going to be a good exposure in this light, just looking through. No, way under. There's not a great deal else to say about this. It has a film in at the moment, so I'm not going to fire the shutter. This particular one is a bit grubby on top, and it had like little kind of, has these little kind of spots on here, which do seem to be rubbing off with a bit of water and a bit of elbow grease. So I just need to clean it up a bit more, and maybe it look a little bit better. The back door is a little tiny bit, there's a tiny bit of give there when I press, but I guess that doesn't really mean too much. Interestingly, it has a sticker on it for £25 from either some kind of camera shop or possibly Camera Fair. It's that kind of little sticker we've got there. I'm just trying to remember how much I paid for it. I'm just seeing if I can juggle with my other hand to find out, because I would always be interested in that. The prices on these kind of things if I was watching this video, so let me just quickly have a look for that. As I say, there's not a great deal else to say. I threw a film in it just because it seemed to function, and I had a film in my bag and I received this at work in the post and thought, yeah, let's just chuck it in and see how it goes. I've taken a few shots, and so far it seems okay, but we'll see. I paid £12 for it plus postage, so less than 20 quid, which, to be honest, would I pay that in future? Maybe not quite that much now. I think I was in a little bit of optimistic mood at this point, but it's a nice camera. You know, will I keep it? I don't know. It depends if it exposes well, if the metering is right and the focusing is right. I mean, how I'll know how much of if it's the camera's fault, how much is mine, I don't know. But yeah, nice little camera. Well, little is possibly a bit optimistic, but it's not too heavy. I didn't come with a lens cap, but I did manage with a bit of trial and error to find one that I had that fitted. I think it's a 52mm thread on the end of the edge of the lens. So I found a crappy old Canon film SLR, which is a horrendous piece of junk, which I've just put back on eBay, and that lens cap fits nicely, so I've ordered a 52mm lens cap just to throw on there because I'm a bit anal with these selenium cells. I want to keep them covered up out of the light as much as possible. I don't want to leave them sat in the light for weeks and months on end, deteriorating if that is indeed the case. Made in Japan by Petri Camera Company Inc. Yeah, I'll have to see how the first roll goes. So there's another rangefinder that I bought from eBay.